Grab a cup of tea or a glass of wine and tune in for inspired conversations with publisher Linda Joy. On Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, Linda creates sacred space for leading female luminaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. A soulful venue where guests openly share the fears and obstacles they've overcome, wisdom and lessons learned, and the personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired conversations to empower you on your path to authentic, soulful living.
Welcome to Inspired Conversations. I'm your host, Linda Joy, Inspirista, Mindset Mojo mentor, and publisher of Aspire magazine. We can all feel drained, weighed down, and even surrounded by toxicity. But guess what? And toxins aren't just in what we eat and drink or in household products. Toxicity can be found in our relationships, our thoughts, and even in our clutter. Joining me today is Rebecca Clio Gould. Apologies again, Rebecca. The award-winning author of the Multi-Orgasmic Diet, and she recently published her second book, which I am honored to say we shared again in the Aspire Mag Top 10 Inspiring Books list, and it's called Detox Your Life, and I think we all need this right now. After leaving law school in 2005 to pursue her passions, Rebecca went on to graduate from the Heartwood Institute and then also from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition as a health coach with a background in massage, Asian healing arts, and healing with whole foods. She's also a certified Qigong, I cannot pronounce that word, I apologize. I just went blank, in meditation teacher, and has been a board certified holistic health practitioner since 2007. So first off, Rebecca.
Yes.
Share that word with me again because I just went blank.
No problem. Thank you for having me. It's Qigong. Qigong. Yeah. The Q is like a CH sound.
And I went like blank. Well, first off, I have to say something.
It's okay. I come with a lot of words that, can throw people off with pronunciation.
Well, as I was telling you off air, and it's so funny, so I want my audience to know that your last name is Gould. But I have a friend, as I shared to you off air, that I've known for 40 years, and it's spelled the same way, but it said Gold, and I kept going, I got to do this, and I did it again.
No
but
problem.
First off, I want to say, I've been following your work for a while, and we featured your first book, The Multi-Orgasmic Diet, which I thought was really powerful. So when I saw that your second book was out, especially in these times, we all need, help cleaning up and clearing out our body, mind, home, and relationships so we can feel our best. So thank you for joining me today for this conversation.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks so much for inviting me and for featuring my book again. Such an honor.
Well, one of the things, Rebecca, is, when I see messages that just resonate with me on a deep level, I know it's going to resonate with my audience, but also, I'm always about sharing strategies that help women live their best lives. And that's what your new book, Detox Your Life, is all about. So I'm curious, how did you even come up with the idea? Because you're right. Like I said in the intro, we always hear about detox in the body, right? When we hear detox, what do you automatically go to is your body.
Right.
How did you come up with this idea for Detox Your Life?
Yeah, so it actually came out of my first book, The Multi-Orgasmic Diet. While I was working on the Multi-Orgasmic Diet, part of the process was to, brainstorm my ideas and write down chapter titles. And I did that on note cards. And one of my note cards said, Detox Your Life, like a chapter title, because I was thinking about, what gets in the way with the multi-orgasmic diet. It's all about what gets in your way of feeling your most vibrant, fully alive self and keeps that energy flowing through you. And I was thinking about all the things that can toxify your life or block the flow of energy in your life and make you feel kind of icky or down. And then I realized that Detox Your Life sounded like a great book title, not just a chapter title. And that it also, honestly, probably every chapter in the Multi-Orgasmic Diet could have its own book. But for this one, I felt like, no, I got to take it out of this book and just turn it into a book.
Well, I'm so glad that you did too, because it really resonated with me.
Thank you.
Now, one of the main things you teach, in the work that you do with individuals is teaching meditation and Qigong.
Yeah.
How does that tie into detox in your life? For those of us who aren't familiar or
Right.
practice meditation, yes, Qigong I haven't
Yeah.
tried before.
Right. Well, with meditation, well, I'll start actually with Qigong. So Qi, especially for people who don't know what it is, Qi in Chinese is vital life force energy. And so Qigong is a practice where you bring in fresh, pure healing Qi, vital life force energy, send out stagnant, murky Qi. And it's like an exchange of energy with the universe too. And it's a meditative movement. So even like a Qigong could be considered a meditation in motion or moving meditation. So with detoxing your life, with the energy aspect of it, if our energy is kind of gunked up or, it's not flowing because of things going on, whether it's in our diet, in our relationships, in our home, or the way we're thinking about things, Qigong can help move the energy through. It can help clean the energy. Meditation, of course, is, going to help your mind detox. You get focused, you get centered, clear, calm. So, I could elaborate on all of that, but that's kind of the overview of, having some kind of meditation, mindfulness, Qigong energy cultivation practice really helps with cleaning and clearing out your body, mind. It can affect your relationships too, obviously, if it makes you feel better. So it's just a good practice for detoxing your life.
What it sounds like is that really anyone can do it, right? Because it's so gentle. So it isn't like someone has to say, well, I can't do it because of restrictions. So is it open to many?
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good point. So the main practice that I teach is called Sheng Zhen. And in addition to cultivating Qi, it focuses on opening your heart and cultivating the pure energy of love. And what we always talk about with that, it's like a moving meditation. And we talk about how it's not exercise, Qigong and moving meditations, they're not like up, down, exercise hard. It's like gentle, natural movement. And so, yeah, anyone can do it. And even if the movements that I teach, or if you learn them somewhere else, if they're challenging, you can modify them. So anyone can do it. And, you can do it for a short amount of time, a long amount of time. It's very adaptable.
Well, that's what I loved about it. To me, it feels like flow. It's like, so like the videos I've seen, it's just gentle movement.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And there are a lot of types of Qigong and meditation, a lot of different methods. The thing that I love, the reason why I teach primarily Sheng Zhen is that I really love the focus on opening the heart, and that a lot of the forms, a lot of the movements have these poetic contemplations that are really inspiring. And I feel like in terms of detoxing your life, that really goes along so well, because part of detoxing your life is detoxing your mind and moving into thinking more positively, more solution oriented, knowing that everything is going to be okay, or, letting go of worries, that kind of thing. So that's why, even though I'm trained in some other things, I really focus on teaching Sheng Zhen.
Well, it sounds like a powerful process. And a moment ago you mentioned about, detoxing the mind. So let's talk about that, because, right now everyone's in fear and anxiety, right?
Oh my gosh, I know. Yeah.
So, and I have a strong practice, I call it recalibrating. It's like recalibrate, that's not my truth. And so how have you found the practices that you teach to be helpful in these times, right? To bring them back to their heart. Because that's what I love about what you just shared.
Yeah.
It's like that heart centering, and that really resonates.
Right. And coming back into your body, because like that fear and anxiety, the worry, all the stress from what's going on right now in the world, we're in our heads, and we're in this like, basically like a trauma state a lot of the time, and like fight, flight, freeze, that kind of thing. So coming back into the body, into the heart. And what I see in teaching is that it's really been like a touchstone for a lot of my students. You know, in March, in-person classes stopped in March 2020 and like mid-March. And right away, I just switched over to online. Like I wasn't even going to wait until one of the places that I taught at said, yeah, let's do it online. I just offered it online. I reached out to my students. I was like, I know they need this, you know, and I knew I needed to teach because for me, teaching is very healing too. So what I've seen in my students, like one of them even said, I don't know, he hadn't been to class in a couple of weeks. And he said, this is the first time I've smiled in 2 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. And that just gets me every time. And even other times when like that same student hasn't come for a while and then will come back, you know, the same thing, like, wow, I really needed that. And yeah, other people just saying that it's really been like a touchstone. And even if they don't show up to every time, like they get an email from me every week and they're like, even getting that feels good. You know, it's like a consistent thing that they know is there for them, even if they don't come to it.
But it's so beautiful because what's happening is it's like you're bringing them from that busy, busy mind, that fear-based ego. And like I can, as you were speaking, I was trying to feel what the experience would be. It's like, it's dropping down right into the heart.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
how can you be in fear when you're in your heart?
Exactly. And, you know, especially like with teaching the Shengzhen practice, there's a big focus on letting go of worries. And we talk about it being like a vacation time. So every class, I'm like, it's your Shengzhen vacation time. Doesn't matter what else is going on. You're here right now. It's a time to relax your body, relax your mind, open the heart, let go of worries. And so it really is like a break from everything else, and a break in which, like you said, you come into your heart, you come into your body, you get centered, and you just are present and even find some joy no matter what else is going on, you know? So I really love that.
Adding that to your life while we're talking about detoxing the mind. And then after our break, we'll talk a little bit about detoxing, you know, our body. And then maybe we'll touch base on detoxing clutter, because I hear, especially with everyone home now, I hear that in my community.
Yeah.
So along with the practices that you just shared, is there another type of strategy that someone can implement now?
Oh yeah. So like for detoxing your mind, like in the book, I'm just flipping through it now. I haven't looked at it in a while, but you know, things like doing like a social media or even like a full-on news detox, you know, like avoiding it for a while, or things like taking an inventory of your thoughts. Like what are the repetitive, habitual, negative thoughts that arise, and how can you neutralize them or turn them into something positive? So there are some practices in the book that have to do with looking at what your thoughts actually are and what kind of words you tend to use, and, you know, making adjustments to that.
I totally agree with the social media. Like I do not have notifications of social media on my phone.
Yeah, same here.
I can go to the app if I want to enter Facebook, but no notifications and no email comes to my phone. I did that for a long time, and those pings get to you.
Yeah, it's so important to have boundaries around that. And I actually finished writing this book while doing a 30-day break from social media. So that was really good. And then coming back to social media, I actually started to feel anxious. I'm like, I don't know if I want to be here, but I think I'm finding a way for it to feel good and healthy and like have good boundaries around it.
Exactly. And that's so important in these days.
Yeah.
And Rebecca, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, let's talk about, we'll go with detox in the body, because right now, you know, it's the end of the year. You know, this is on every woman's mind. I just added some supplements and organic powders to my routine, just because I just want to create new habits going into the new year, because I think a lot of us let some habits slack during the last 8 months.
Oh, yeah.
And so we'll be back in a moment.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
Inspiration for a woman's soul. Aspire Magazine, inspiring and supporting women on the path of self-discovery. Claim your free digital subscription today, which includes access to thousands of dollars of personal development bonus gifts from Team Inspiration partners. Claim your Aspire Magazine subscription today at subscribetoaspire.com.
Hey America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Are you trying to get from point A to point B and need a little advice? Connect with the counselors at OMTimes Advisors. Whether you're looking for a life coach or a spiritual intuitive, the advisors participating at advisors.omtimes.com were carefully chosen based on their gifts, skills, and professionalism. OMTimes Advisors, connecting you with the best advisors in the business.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on IOM Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. Today I'm with Rebecca Clio Gould, author of Detox Your Life, and that's what we're talking about today. So right before the break, we talked about detoxing your mind, and you had shared, some of the ways, and there's many more in your book. Social media fast, the news fast. And I love the one, taking inventory of the thoughts that you have, repetitive, because there's a pattern there that it's so helpful if we can recognize. So what are some of the ways that we can detox our body?
Yeah, it's a good question. So one of the most basic ways is to make sure you're drinking enough water, really. I mean, it's very simple, and it's interesting how some people that read my book very early on, or maybe even before I published it, were like, wow, like I just started drinking more water and I already feel better. It's very simple and very powerful to make sure that you're just hydrated enough and drinking enough. And, then there are other things like avoiding processed foods, focusing on whole foods. There are things like, also, like making sure that you're having regular bowel movements and exercising, even if it's not heavy exercise, just walking. There are some supplements, but I feel that I was very cautious about talking about supplements in the book because I feel like it's a very individualized thing and usually requires, talking to a healthcare provider or doing more research based on what you know of your own medical history and what your needs are. But one that I do mention is Chlorella. It's just like anyone with any kind of thyroid issue and some other stuff going on might want to avoid it. But that is one that I mentioned for some people, Chlorella.
Yeah, I'm not a supplement person. I'm just not disciplined enough. But the powders that I just started, I'm doing well with them because I can add them to a green drink. So I get the water thing. I never realized I probably spent, I'm 58. I probably spent over 40 years of my life dehydrated. I did not drink water. I lived on milk. Thankfully, I was never, ever a soda drinker, even as a child. Never liked it. But as I became more educated, I'm a big water drinker now, and I can tell if I go backwards. Body ache, fog. I think a lot of people walk around dehydrated and don't know it.
Yeah, definitely. And I know for me, if I'm not drinking enough water, one of the big things is I have more cravings for other stuff, and then I'm like, oh wait, I just need to drink water.
I'm a bread girl. I'm a sugar and bread gal. Like carbs, and that's one thing I'd love to reduce. But I get that because when I have a full client call day, I will drink probably 4 bottles of water. And my honey's like, aren't you hungry? I'm like, oh my God, I feel so energized, so great. Yeah. And I think in the past, I would have that same day, no water, and you know what you feel like.
Right.
So I'm so glad that you brought that up. Now, one of the other things too is my honey and I just started doing, just probably last Tuesday, a sunrise walk. Every morning at sunrise, we live on the water.
Oh, nice.
Right in the middle of the woods. And it's gentle movement. We're not trying to beat the clock or anything. It is so peaceful. Most of it we spend in quiet, so we can just enjoy the woods, nature, see a hawk, see a deer. And I'm going to tell you, that peaceful, quiet movement, not trying to meet a goal or a speed goal.
Right.
Both of us, we're feeling the energetic difference.
Right.
So that's what you're talking about, right?
Right. Well, that's even like the, meditation in motion, like you're doing like a walking meditation.
You know what's funny that you said that, because this morning I was a little chatty and we were just getting on the path. He goes, baby. I go, ooh. Because I'm a chatty Kathy in the morning. He goes, this is our meditation time. And then we walk, and then we're so present. You smell every scent. We saw the hawk. And so other times we chat,
right.
But this morning he goes, baby.
That's perfect.
But for him, it's really become, he's a contractor. It's really become this sacred time. We haven't missed a day other than a day that was downpouring.
Yeah.
So that is what you're talking about earlier.
Yeah, you got to move your body. Yeah, you got to move your body, quiet your mind. And I think also, I don't think I talk about this in the book. I might, but I don't know. This just made me think too about like connecting to nature, and through the Shengzhen practice, we also talk about connecting to nature, but actually going out and walking and being in nature, I think is really detoxifying. And being in the fresh air, of course, if you're somewhere polluted, it's a little bit different, but if you're somewhere with fresh air, it's a great thing to do.
Well, one of the things, I can think back to my young years. We've been here on this pond. We built the first house, probably 26 years ago. My mind was so busy back then. I was still an entrepreneur, different business back then. And we would come down the little dirt road, and he'd be driving, and he'd be staring. He's been on this water for 60 years. And one day, 20 something years ago, he said to me, as we like rounded the corner and the giant lake comes into view, he said, babe, do you even see any of this? But I was so busy on my phone trying to get more tasks done, right?
Right.
And I was like, I'd look at him and go, yeah, it's pretty, and put my head back down.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, I get it now. And then I did my personal work.
Yeah.
Now it's like a breeze comes, I feel it.
Yay, that's great.
Birds. Washing dishes, and I'm looking out and I'm washing dishes, but it's meditation for me because I'm actually, that's what you're talking about. And that's why it's so important that I had you here today, because I've had talks with friends that I said, you should try, going for a walk. It's been amazing being in nature. And they're like, if I can't make it to the gym, that's not really a workout. And I'm like, it's not about just working out.
Yeah.
So
it's not.
That message?
Yeah.
It's just
just move. I mean, for detoxing, of course, there's something about sweating that can be helpful, but you don't necessarily have to work up a sweat. And walking is also really good for regularity and just getting your blood flowing, getting the chi flowing. So, and I think it's good for your mental health to go for a walk. So, I just think
the things I do love about walking for myself is I can feel my energy coming from my head, dropping into my body, going into the ground.
Yeah, that's great.
So one of the other things is, we're going to talk about clutter, because I run a couple of sacred communities of women, and we're talking about that in one of the group calls. So what is it? Just physical clutter in the book, or is it both mental and physical clutter?
Well, yeah, the way the book is organized, I have like a chapter on the home. So of course we talk about physical clutter there, but yeah, mental clutter is a thing too. So that's important to keep a check on. And I think even just, things like meditation can help with that. And in the book though, like talking about physical clutter, I think they can, if you have a lot of physical clutter, that can affect your mind, right? Because it's more stuff. If you have a lot of stuff, it's more stuff to take care of. One of my main mentors, teachers, on and off coach, and dear friend of mine, Laura Levine, she teaches a course called Lighten Up. And she talks about, and I share her stuff in the book too. And how she talks about like these things that we have, they're all things that we're responsible for. So if you have more stuff around, like it's taking up more of your mental space too, in a way, more of your energy, even if you're not aware of it.
It's so true. And that's what a lot of the women in the community were talking about was since everybody came home, like a lot of the spouses, they're both working from home, they're homeschooling the kids, or, you know, virtual schooling, I should say. And so now their physical environment has changed and they can feel it.
Yeah.
So I'm so glad that you talked about that, because the physical clutter around us can create the mental clutter or exasperate it.
Yeah. And I don't think that like minimalism is for everyone, but I do think like, even if you have a lot of stuff, the way that it's organized and like how you have it around you is important to consider. Because for some people, you know, like getting rid of everything isn't a good idea. Like there's something comforting about having stuff, not in a hoarder type of way, but just like, you know, maybe you don't want to be minimalist, but you also don't want a bunch of clutter. So figuring out, you know, what you can get rid of, but then in terms of what you're keeping, where does it go and how do you have it in your space? And also like the things that you have, how do they make you feel? You know, like, do you have something from an ex, you know, or that makes you feel bad, or does it make you remember the good stuff? So like you have to think about how the things you have make you feel too.
Oh, that's a big one for me. 2 years ago, we sold on the same water that I'm on now, but we sold our big house. It was just him and I now. And, you know, it was like 5 bedrooms, a gym and waterfront. And everyone said, what do you see? It's gorgeous. And I said, we're at a point, I'm all about intentional life, intentional business, intentional home, right? Those are my hashtags. Yeah. And I went through, it wasn't a rush decision. So I had time to like purge. And I would do what you said. It's like, why am I keeping this in a box in storage for 18 years? It must not mean anything if it's been in a box all that time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Laura Levine's mantra that I share in the book, with her permission, is actively used or deeply cherished. So sure, there might be things that we don't use, but maybe it really is meaningful. So we keep it. And with actively used, that might not even be something you use all the time, you know, but it's something where it's like, well, I want to have a life where I don't have to go out and buy this thing that I need every 3 years, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But I'm going to tell you, it was so, that doing that process and preparing to build a house right next door, the one we're in now, it was a really healing thing for me. It opened up so much energy. Yeah. And I'd share about it and write about it. And people like, you know, how can you be so peaceful moving and purging? I'm like, because everything that comes into my new home, which we moved into a year ago this month, is intentional.
Yeah, it's intentional. There's also like a detoxing, like a cleansing, a purging.
Yeah, because it was things, and it was something you said a moment ago, like, we keep things, right? Like there were things I bought and I truly did love them at that time. But who I am now, I don't energetically resonate with it. But a lot of people hold on to it because they go, but I paid this much for it. And I'm like, well, you know what? Your energy is priceless. Why are you putting a price by keeping something that you don't even like?
Totally. Yeah. Or the like, oh, but someday what if I need it? You know, I can say, I mean, if I'm honest, there are a few things that I've gotten rid of where later I was like, oh man, I wish I hadn't, but that's so rare that, you know, I definitely still get rid of a lot of stuff.
Oh yeah. I'm the same way. And it's so much, it just feels, I feel more zen.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're going to take a break. And when we come back, why don't we talk about relationships? I'd love to hear, like in your work that you do teaching, as people learn to drop into their heart and meditate in the processes that you teach, how does it ripple out and affect their relationship dynamics? So we'll talk about that when we come back, and we will be back in a moment.
This is OTRFM, part of the IOM radio network.
Are you feeling a deep, persistent ache in your soul, telling you there is so much more you could be experiencing? Are you tired of your life quietly being shaped by fear and doubt instead of by your dreams? Inspirational speaker, certified law of attraction coach, and best-selling author Kelly Michelle empowers heart-centered women in their 40s and 50s to boldly reimagine and recreate their next phase of life in alignment with who they are now. Through her deeply transformational coaching, programs, and writing, Kelly emboldens, inspires, and guides women like you to embrace your inner truth. This is your invitation to discover new, incredible opportunities available to you in this profound and powerful time in your life. Visit yourdreamsyourlife.com to learn more about Kelly's supportive and transformational programs and to schedule your complimentary Clarity Breakthrough session.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Do you have time to read that inspiring book or that blog post you've been meaning to get to? In your busy world, how do you improve yourself and keep your life going? I'm Lisa Kay, and my Between Heaven and Earth radio show can transform your life just by listening. Be uplifted with inspiring topics, positive stories, and ideas that really work. Between Heaven and Earth Radio is conscious living for your soul, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
Me, a cat, moving in with a new human. It took a little getting used to. She has these weird games she likes to play, like this giant feather. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. She sticks it in my face. I swat it away. It's almost like she thinks I enjoy it. But seeing how much fun she gets out of it, well, I guess it makes it all worth it. Humans.
A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet. Be that person. Adopt. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the ShelterPetProject.org.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back, my friends. I am so glad you're here with us today. We're talking about Detox Your Life. And right before the break, Rebecca, you know, we've talked about detoxing your mind, detoxing your clutter. At the beginning of the show, I mentioned about relationships. Mm-hmm. I know personally, as I shifted energetically, all my relationships enhanced. But what do you hear from your clients and the work that they're doing?
Well, I think that with relationship stuff, people, like one person who read my book was saying that, like, just by kind of shifting the way that she was thinking about things, like softening, you know, like not being so like hard and armored around this other person's behavior, made it easier to deal with, you know? So yeah, like when we work on ourselves, even if the other person's behavior doesn't change, like we're able to better navigate what choices we need to make to either stay in relationship or leave the relationship, or to communicate with the person about what's going on. So I think too that with things like dropping into your heart and also detoxing your mind, it can just help bring more clarity and also compassion. So, you know, when we have relationships that feel toxic, sometimes it means they need to end or just change, but sometimes it's more about just shifting how we look at things and having a conversation. You know, it's all very dependent on context, of course. Like there's such a range of relationships, but yeah, detoxing your relationships can look like anything from just shifting how you think about something or someone to actually walking away, you know?
You know what I noticed for me as I guess want to say became more intentional with my mind and my energy is I became less reactive.
Yeah.
And it was more responsive, which I think response comes more from the heart.
Yeah.
That's just my feeling. And reaction comes more from that, you know, from stress, fear, ego.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I noticed that, and everyone would say, it's almost like I thought before I spoke, I guess.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Have you heard feedback from your clients?
Yeah,
that they noticed that in themselves?
Just being more mindful. Yeah, being like taking more time to consider the situation, not being as reactive for sure. I mean, honestly, I think one of the things that helps the most with that is, I know I keep going back to the Shengzhen practice, like, but really like just the heart opening, the being connected to your heart, the positive messages that go along with it, it just really helps cultivate compassion too. And, again, it's like, depending on the relationship or the other person or people involved, sometimes compassion doesn't mean you stay in a relationship with them, but just that you have a different energy and attitude about changing or ending the relationship, or how you approach a conversation with the person or people.
Yeah, and it's so powerful because really our relationships are, there's always an energetic exchange going on, right? So the quality of that exchange is the quality of your life.
Right. And, people say sometimes, like, the things that bother you and other people, I don't know exactly the quote, but like how, things that bother you about other people, it's something in you. And I feel like sometimes, not always, but I think what you look at there is maybe it's not that other person is showing you something about you directly, but more like, okay, how am I thinking about it? How am I reacting to it? Like, how do I manage my own feelings, my own energy? Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things is I want to make sure that I bring up is you mentioned videos. So let's talk about your website. Give them the URL, but also, is there videos, courses, classes?
Oh, that's a great question.
They can learn more about this?
Yeah. So I have, well, with the book, actually, if you sign up for the book bonuses, then you get access to some videos that go along with it, like some of the practices. So there's that. And then I do have a YouTube channel, and I have meditations on there, and I sometimes have other stuff. I've just started developing another site that has some videos that are available for people who are supporters on that site. All that can be found on my website. But what I want to get to is that I am planning, oh gosh, now if I say it here, I really have to do it, but that's good. Okay. I'm planning to create like an online program type of thing that goes along with Detox Your Life. So it'll probably be a 6-week thing, but I'm not totally clear on that. But I want to have it ready by spring. It might be ready sooner, but like that's my goal, is to have some kind of online thing people can do.
Well, I think it's important because I think that as a sacred teacher, this sounds like a powerful methodology, and where we can't gather in most states.
Yeah.
So what is your web URL that you'd like them to visit?
Great, thanks. My website is RebeccaClioGould.com. So that's REBECCA, C as in cat, LIOGOULD.com. So it's just my full name.com.
And they'll find everything they need there. They can get to your book. And books, actually.
They can get to my books and my classes and whatever. Everything's there. Yeah. Well, actually, not everything, because I'm rebuilding my site. I switched to it. I think everything that's most needed right now is there. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, believe me, I know what it's like to go through a website design. I'm doing the Aspire magazine website right now, and the new site goes live in about 2 weeks. So.
Oh, yay. Great.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Good. So I'm so grateful for you for sharing that. And we are going to we're going to talk about boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So let me clarify, healthy boundaries, right?
Yeah.
I work with a lot of people that are sensitive, empaths, porous boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to hear your thoughts and, what you shared in your book about developing healthy boundaries. And the big thing, stop saying yes when you mean no. That was a big one for me.
Oh, yeah. I'm all about the no. I mean, I love yes, too. I even have like a big painting on my wall that says yes. And, but oh my gosh, no is so important. And I know it's so hard for a lot of people. And I feel like also something that I see a lot is like people pleasing. So like maybe even in the moment they think they're really a yes, and then they're like, wait a minute, I'm not, So being able to get really clear with yourself, and if you're not clear, to give yourself time, like just tell, if somebody's asking you for something, or they're asking something of you, or it's even just like an invitation from a friend that you like, like you can say, oh, let me get back to you tomorrow, so give yourself the time and space to get clear on if you're really a yes or a no.
That's a big one because, I think every woman, we've said yes just in that moment. We just say it, and then we go, oh my God, why did I say that?
Right.
On the way home, you're like, mine's like, I didn't really mean yes. Why did I say that? And then a month saying, oh my God, I can't believe I got to do this. And like mental torture. And I'm like, why don't you just say, I love what you said. Just say, I'm going to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or let me get back to you.
And for me, like, I also like something that I do sometimes, because sometimes I feel really busy. Sometimes I do feel really busy or overwhelmed. And so I might even say to somebody like, let me get back to you on that. And if you don't hear from me tomorrow, can you just follow up with me in a couple of days? So take some more pressure off of yourself, even if you're feeling like there's a lot going on for you, or you're trying to make a lot of decisions about things. So you can put it back in their court depending on the situation, I think.
On what it is. And honestly, releasing guilt is another big one.
Yeah.
For me, it was not even just around the yes and no situation, but around life, around decisions, the guilt that we carry, especially as women, that needs detoxing.
Yeah, definitely. I don't talk about guilt in this book, do I? I know I do in Multi-Orgasmic Diet, but yeah, that's a big one, letting go of guilt and shame. I know I talk about that in Multi-Orgasmic Diet.
And you also talk a lot about experiencing joy.
Yeah.
In free that sense of freedom, but that comes from clearing things so that you can have the lightness of spirit.
Definitely. And that's where, boundaries come in. I mean, I think we were talking I think it was off air about, like taking a break in December, I've been telling people a lot over the past week, like I'm about to go into December hibernation mode. So, I'm not a yes for a lot of things right now. I'm definitely like a no, or let's check back in the new year. So,
but I love that you honor that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, did you used to struggle with honoring it?
That's a good question, because I feel like I've been so good at it for the most part for so long. I'm trying to remember if I used to struggle with it, and I honestly don't know if it was a struggle. I mean, I know that I've gotten, I've done a lot of self-work, and I've gotten a lot better about like getting clear and having good boundaries. I think I know what I've gotten better at, and what used to be a struggle was the communication part. And sure, sometimes I could still do better, but I think learning really healthy communication around boundaries is something I've been getting a lot better at. Something I talk with some people about sometimes is that if you've had a hard time with boundaries in the past, sometimes when you start to assert your boundaries, it can come across in a really harsh way, because you're trying so hard to make sure that you are being clear about your boundaries. But when you get better and better at it, you can be softer or more neutral about it. Sure, there are times when it's important to be like hard or harsh about something, but in general, just like you don't have to try to convince yourself so much, or the other person.
I think when we do that, because I've done that, as I was learning, I think that comes from the guilt. Like I just have to say this thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then of course you feel bad, right? Because you're actually saying it. So I think it's a lot of that energy.
Totally. And I think that's one thing that I still occasionally slip into, but have definitely gotten better at. And that's, from learning about and practicing better communication skills, and letting go of feeling like there's anything wrong with having that boundary or saying no or whatever it is. So.
Well, I think too, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, I want to talk about a daily practice, because I'm curious what your daily practice is, right? As well as maybe what you teach to your students. So we'll be back in a moment.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM.
It's time to amplify your intuitive superpowers and allow your soul to lead the way. When you hear, trust, and follow your inner wisdom, you'll discover your soul's path. A path that leads to the joyful, authentic, and abundant life you desire and deserve. Master intuitive teacher, coach, and healer, Carolyn Mcgee is known as the Angel, Animal, and Intuition Oracle. She has taught thousands of professional, corporate, and entrepreneurial women to trust themselves and their divine intuition so they can show up in their full power in business and in life. With a background of over 20 years in high tech, Carolyn knows firsthand the importance of living from a blend of her masculine and feminine energies. If you're ready to embrace your intuitive superpowers, visit CarolynMcgee.com to learn about Carolyn's supportive programs and offerings.
OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Circle of Hearts Radio is a sanctuary on the airwaves. Join me, Grandmother Elia, in the circle on Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern as I share information to both enlighten and nourish your soul.
The number one reason girls drop out of school in sub-Saharan Africa is lack of access to feminine hygiene products. The Pads for Schoolgirls Project, an outreach of Humanity Healing International, is changing this paradigm by setting up sewing programs at schools, teaching girls a vocational skill, while producing the reusable pads that help keep them attending classes. The girls pay it forward by making and giving pad kits to other girls in need. To learn more, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
This is OTR FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Welcome back, everyone. You're listening to Inspired Conversations. And with me today is the author of The Multi-Orgasmic Diet, as well as her brand new book, Detox Your Life, Rebecca Clio Gould. And Rebecca, we've been talking about detox in every area of your life. And I'm curious is because so many people struggle, they're like, well, I don't know where to begin. And one thing I read about you is you're a possibility realist who believes we can all learn to be healthier and happier by implementing simple changes. And when I saw simple changes, I'm like, yes, I like that. Yeah. So what is a daily practice? What's your daily practice? And then what is something that you would recommend to get someone started that's new to this path?
Great questions. My daily practice varies, except for one thing that's been pretty consistent for many years, with some breaks, which is I do the morning pages, the 3 pages from Julia Cameron's Artist Way book.
Yes.
Yeah, and that's been really consistent for me daily, the morning pages. Journaling is really important for me, especially as a writer, but I think even for people that don't think of themselves as writers, journaling, especially in the morning, is really a great practice. And, I'm laughing about like a daily practice other than that, because, my daily practices other than that do vary. So there are times in my life where every day I also make sure that I take a certain amount of time to meditate, whether it's the type of meditation I teach or it's, I really love the SRF meditations, the Self-Realization Fellowship meditations. So there have been times in my life where every day I would listen to one of their guided meditations, or do a Shengzhen practice. I also, I walk my dog every day, twice a day. And sometimes, not always, but sometimes those walks are kind of like a prayer walk and or an affirmation walk. Like while I'm walking him, I recite prayers or affirmations. So for me, that's really powerful. And with Shengzhen too, even though it's more powerful when you also do the movement practice or a non-moving practice from it, there's a mantra that's part of the Shengzhen practice that I do use every day, which is, I am a big body of love. And that's the short version. The long version is, I am a big body of love, full of chi, full of love. Chi is always with me. Love is always with me. So I feel like I do have like the daily Shengzhen practice in that way. But to be honest, even though I'm a teacher, I don't always do like a movement practice or a non-moving meditation each day. But that mantra is with me every day, and definitely a dedicated practice, that way of life, that way of being.
I love how it felt, when I heard the mantra, I am a big body of love. You can feel the energy. Like you, I don't do the same thing every day. It's kind of where my energy is.
Yeah.
I'm more conscious. Sometimes it's like I start with a green drink, and I start every day. I get up between 3 and 5 every day, and I love that quiet time.
Yeah, me too. Oh, yeah.
I'm like yummy yum, right? And the cat gets on my lap, and Dana's still sleeping.
Yeah,
and I've come to appreciate over the years. So to me, that's like my sacred connection time. I'm a big. I love guided meditations. So I just go with what I have different people that I like or that I listen to. But it depends on my mood, like you say, on my energy.
Right.
My mood.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm so good at journaling. I don't want to say it's so good. Some days I'll be consistent and journal for a month, and then I might not pick it up for 3 months.
Right. I think what's interesting here about us both sharing how, we do different things sometimes is that I think it's important for people who don't have a daily practice to understand that it's okay if it changes, but to have something that is like a practice each day, right? And so I think for other people, sure, I could be like, well, every day journal or every day meditate, but no, it's like, just know that you're going to make the time for yourself and commit to it. Maybe for some people, though, if they're just starting off with developing a daily practice, it is important to make sure it's the same thing for a certain amount of time, though. I don't know.
Well, for me, how I got started, because I was never a disciplined person, is I just said, use that time in the morning to do whatever you're led to do.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, that was it. So sometimes it's because I have a blankie. Everybody has a blankie, right? Your favorite blankie. And I curl up with the cat and just pat him, and I'm in that moment. Other times I pick up one of the, inspirational books, and I might read a chapter. Other times I go, I think I'm going to listen to a guided meditation. But so I created that time was mine, right? And then it just became more of a routine, right? That is what I found. But I took off the pressure to have to do a certain thing every single day. It's just, I know that works for some people. For me, it never has, but because I thought it was the only way it had to be, like you have to do A, B, C, D, in this order every day, that I judged myself for years.
Yeah. I have so many practices I love, and I feel like I don't necessarily have time for them all. So maybe it's better for me to rotate through them, for a while do yoga every day, and then for a while do Qigong every day. So just changing it up.
Yeah. And like you said, walking your dog twice a day.
Yeah.
That's a ritual to me. Washing the dishes can be a ritual.
Yeah.
I am a dishwasher, but there's certain dishes that I still hand wash, and I wait, and he goes, baby, forgot those. He goes, oh, I know. There's some, because the view is spectacular. So I just sit there, and if I try to rush through it, then I miss a moment.
Right.
So now it's just a couple that have to be hand done. And I turned it into a ritual. I don't want to just do them for the sake of getting them done. I'm like, no, this is my time to watch the birds, see the squirrel build its nest, and it's become a peaceful thing instead of going, damn, I got to hand wash those dishes. Right.
That's great.
It's all about the mind. But, you inspired me too, because many years ago when Julia's book first came out, I did the morning pages. So I think because like you, I am about to go on holiday break for 3 weeks. My company, we closed the offices, my entire team. We've been doing that for about 8 years. And we're blessed because I also give my team Fridays off. So I do a lot of sacred self-care time. But I'm going to grab that book again and see where it goes.
Oh, it's so good. I'm actually on I'm going through it week by week for the first time ever. I've done morning pages for years, but I actually never went through the whole book. And a friend invited me to do it along with her. And we're on week 11. And oh my gosh, it's amazing. I love it.
So you love doing it with someone too, right?
Yeah.
Like accountability?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. We check in each week. It's great. Yeah.
And I want to give everyone have you give everyone your URL again.
Okay.
So they can visit you.
All right. Yeah, it's RebeccaClioGould.com, RebeccaC as in cat, LIOGOULD.com.
And I got to say, get over there. Yes, she's working on a new website, but I want you to get a copy of her book, Detox Your Life. It's also, by the way, it's the holidays. It's a great gift for the woman in your life.
Yeah.
So, Rebecca, I just want to say I'm so glad. I was so happy to support your first book. I loved it. So I'm happy to have you on the show for your second book.
Thank you.
Such an important message and so needed right now, where so many of us are living, up in our mind instead of being fully present in our life.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I really appreciate being invited here and being featured in the top 10 again. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure talking with you too.
Oh, you're welcome. When I find women who are sharing a message that I know has the power to change lives, I feel like I want to use my media platform for good. So thank you for stepping into the circle with me.
My pleasure.
And everyone, until next time, choose love, choose joy, choose gratitude, my friends. Blessings, everyone.
Thanks for listening to Inspired Conversations with publisher Linda Joy. Join our sacred space every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern and meet leading female visionaries, empowering authors, heart-centered female entrepreneurs, coaches, and healers. Inspired Conversations with Linda Joy is a soulful venue where guests share the obstacles they've overcome, along with wisdom and lessons learned on their personal journey that led them to the transformational work they do in the world. Inspired Conversations to empower you on your path to authentic and soulful living.